Top 5 trucks in my garage. Hello there everybody, and welcome to a very special truck review here at OpenFed Gaming. You're listening to the OpenFed. I have a lot of trucks in my garage, but we're going to go over the top 5 that I have and use most often. Now we're going to try and incorporate more and more of our fleet into the tasks ahead as we go along. Now when you start the game, money is a huge issue, and so is fuel consumption for your vehicles. But as you progress, you will notice that money is no longer an issue, and you can buy and sell trailers and trucks as you wish. And with you being able to put out fuel trailers on the map wherever you want, now you no longer have to worry about what size motor your truck is using or how much fuel it's consuming. So buy all the add-ons that you can afford. Put all the upgrades in there that you would like or think that you are going to need to use. Now, not all trucks are available at the beginning of the game, so you do have to collect them as you go, which is okay because you get used to the different trucks and the different kind of add-ons that they have and stuff like that, and you upgrade your vehicle as you go along, like everything else. Now, are the trucks in my garage the best in the game? Well, maybe not. That will be a question for another video. However, the trucks that are in my garage will do any of the jobs that you use them for, providing, of course, that you use the right truck for the right job. So, without any further delay, here are the top 5 trucks in my garage. Truck number 5 is the Mercer K520. Now, unfortunately, it's not available until you hit the Quebec region, and it's located on the Lake Riviere map at the Quarry Warehouse. Now, you get it after you complete the wormhole task, which is part of the Routier Solutions Canada Inc. contract, where you deliver to the quarry site 2 drilling spare parts and 2 oversized cargo. Then you repair the Mercer, and it's yours. Now here it's seen hauling a huge 5th wheel water tank. Now the Mercer has a 240 liter fuel tank. It has 300 repair parts on the roof, and it has another 40 liters in a tank, or it looks like canisters of fuel on the roof also. Now the Mercer has, the biggest tires it has is 49 inches, and it does have capability of chains. Now you can equip it with a high and low saddle, and I suggest to put the reinforced front bumper on there, because a lot of times you go down little bumps and up little bumps, and sometimes you hit the front end and take damage with it. Now an autonomous winch is always nice to have if it's available. Not all trucks have them, and if they don't have them, I would buy the strongest and longest winch that you can. I was stuck in a job one time where I needed the longer winch on a specific truck, and I couldn't get the job finished until I figured that out. Now, the Mercer has all-wheel drive, which is switchable, and the diff lock, which is capable, but not always on. So the Mercer, like I said, is a very capable little truck, and you might wonder, with it being so small, why would you have it as one of your top 5 trucks in your fleet? There's a lot of other trucks that might be a lot better. Now, you got to remember one thing. All the trucks that you have in your garage don't have to be powerhouses. You got to remember, there are tasks out there that call for a low saddle. And some of the bigger trucks, like the Kolobs and the Zigzag, they only have high saddles. So how are you going to move trailer like I'm pulling right now with the Mercer, which requires a low saddle? So you got to make sure you can equip your vehicle with all the different attachments that you need. Now you can put a low saddle or a high saddle on the Mercer, and you can put a crane on at the same time. Another advantage of the Mercer, it's a smaller truck. So when you're going over pontoon bridges like this one here, and I'm telling you, you got to be really careful. The smaller the truck, the better. When the truck is bigger, it sits across the pontoon bridge a little bit wider, and you have a harder time driving it. So there's another little advantage to this Mercer truck. Now I've used it a decent amount, but there again, you got to use it for the right jobs, because if you use it for a job it's not intended for, it isn't going to work so well. But the Mercer truck is a very capable truck, and he is my number 5 pick. The number 4 truck is the PLAD 450. Now unfortunately the PLAD will not be available until you hit the Almaty region. But you can always travel from wherever you are to the Almaty region and then go to the Zerbai Quarries map, pick them up and bring them back to where you're going to use them. Now once you get to the Zerbai Quarries map, you have to deliver the task, not a roller coaster, which consists of 4 separate parts. You got to deliver to the Old Slate Quarry 1 oversized cargo. You got to deliver to the logistics center a wide flatbed semi-trailer. You got to deliver to the logistics center the PLAD 450. And then once you get the PLAD 450 there, then you can repair it and it's yours. Look at it. It's an absolute powerhouse the way it just chugs through anything you can throw at it. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, here it's seen helping the Mercer K520 through a little tough area. This is shortly after I first acquired the Mercer, and I wasn't quite sure of its capabilities, and we were trying it out. And you know, everybody can use a little bit of help every once in a while. Now the PLAD's got a fuel tank of 300 liters, and I know I preach about not worrying about that, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about your fuel consumption, whether the truck uses a lot of fuel or a little fuel. But having a bigger fuel tank is still nice to have. Now on the roof we got 150 repair parts and an extra 160 liters of fuel. So pretty tough to run out with 460 liters. You can put a few fuel trailers out and you're always going to be in the fuel. Now the tires are 63 inches, some of the biggest in the game, and it's got chains. And it has a twin steer, which really is a huge advantage when you're driving over rocky areas and like in the quarries where there's big cracks in the rocks, or even over ice, where one tire, like the front tires of your twin steer, might fall through, but the second ones are still sitting on solid ground. So it really helps with going over tough terrain. Now we have a medium log set on there, and we're pulling a medium trailer at the moment. The PLAD can have a flatbed in the crane, you can have a high saddle in the crane, and it has all-wheel drive, which is switchable, and it has a diff lock, which is always on. Now it has quite a few different add-ons, like service trailers, cranes, big logging cranes, all sorts of different things that you can put on there to make your job a little bit easier depending upon what it is that you're doing. Now the PLAD does grind a lot, and he does go quite a bit slower, but there is very little that I've seen that will stop this truck. So he is a very, very capable vehicle. The one issue that I have with him is you cannot put a low saddle on. That is why we have the Mercer K520 in our garage, because we need something that can have a low saddle so we can pull trailers that require that. And there are jobs and tasks in the game that require that. So make sure you have at least one vehicle that can be your favorite or not, but that can have a low saddle so you can make your jobs a little bit easier. Anyhow, these are the reasons that I think the PLAD is a fantastic truck to have in your garage, and that is why he is my pick for number 4. Truck number 3 is the Sleiter ST 816 Elephant. Now it's found in Quebec on the map of Harvard. There you will have to complete the flexible solution task, which is part of the Patrol A Platform Quebec contract, where you will have to deliver to the oil platform the coil tubing semi-trailer. Not an easy job, it's a big trailer. After doing that, you have to refuel the Sleiter, which is pretty easy, but if you know that ahead of time, you'll make sure you bring enough fuel with you, and it's yours. Now the Sleiter is an awesome truck. It can pull a lot of weight, a lot of cargo, and it doesn't seem to mind climbing, as you can see, even without the chains. Now he has 380 liters of fuel in his tank, and on his trunk repair supplies he's got 600 repair parts and another 240 liters of fuel. He runs on 67-inch tires, but he doesn't have any chains, although that doesn't seem to be bothering him at the moment. Now the all-wheel drive is switchable and the diff lock is always on. Now the Sleiter doesn't have a lot of add-ons. He's only got the SLEI 64 loading crane and a high saddle. I don't have a loading crane on this particular model because I didn't need it, but it only has a high saddle. So you don't have a lot of different choices. You can use them as a scout, a fueling trailer, or you can pull the really big trailers. Other than that, he is a very, very capable truck. Now you got to remember, he is a big truck, which means that some of these passageways are going to be a little narrow for him, so you might not want to use it in areas like that. But if you have an area where you are just looking to pull a lot of weight or you need a lot of power, then the Sleiter is going to be one of your main bets, one of your best target trucks to use for the job. Now, when I first got him, I wasn't too sure about him. I thought he was too big and bulky, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to use him. However, after taking him out on a few jobs, you know, he changed my mind. So I put him in the fleet and I started using him a little more often, and he ended up working out really well. But remember, like I said, you've got to make sure you use the right truck for the right job. So if you've got an area where it's really tight and small for turning, and you think that the Sleiter is too big, you're gonna have to use something else. Anyhow, for all those reasons, and he's a lot of fun to drive, he's a really great truck. For all those reasons, the Sleiter ST816 Elephant is my number 3 choice. The number 2 truck is the Kenworth 963. It's found in British Columbia on the Duncan Bay map. Now you have to complete the quid pro quo task where you have to deliver to the house yard a Scout fuel trailer. Then you have to fix the Kenworth and it's yours. Absolutely awesome truck to drive. One of my favorites, and I thought about it for a long time, whether he'd be number 1 or number 2. Now his fuel tank is 510 liters. He carries on the roof, they call it the trunk repair supplies. The repair parts is 220 and an extra 140 liters on the roof. So fuel is no issue, and it doesn't matter how much he uses because, like I've said before, we can put trailers everywhere. So fuel is not an issue. In this truck, there is hardly anything that I think will stop him. Now he has 71-inch tires, no chains, but it doesn't seem to stop him. Just like some of the other trucks that don't have chains, they do real well in the snow and mud. However, it's the ice roads where you have a little bit of trouble, so keep that in mind. Now his all-wheel drive is switchable, and his diff lock is always on. He has many add-ons, but one of my favorites is the 3-slot cargo bed. Now there's jobs in the game where you only have 3 cargo slots needed, so that's when the Kenworth comes in real handy. But as I mentioned earlier on in this video, crossing pontoon bridges is done you have a little bit of an easier time doing it with the Mercer K520 than we did with the Kenworth. The wider the truck, the bigger the truck, the harder it is to cross. But that's not going to stop the Opafet from using it. Now, like I said, there's many add-ons. You can have that 3-slot cargo bed in the back, and you can have a crane at the same time. So if you ever do lose any equipment or cargo, or you have to pick something up from the ground or from a ravine, then you've got the crane there. And as far as crossing ice is concerned, with the long frame that he has, he's just absolutely fantastic, because when his front tires fall into a little hole, the back tires are still on solid ground. by the time the back tires get to that hole, the front tires have already climbed back out again. So the truck is absolutely awesome. Now, I have heard a few complaints about some people who think that he doesn't climb well enough for them, but I haven't found that to be the issue yet with me. Everything I've thrown at him, he's been really, really good. So I use him quite often, and it makes the jobs a little bit easier, and every once in a while I wonder if I should take a truck where it's a little bit harder, and then I go back to the Kenworth because he's one of my favorites. I could have placed this truck at either spot, either number 1 or number 2, and he would have been very comfortable there. Anything you throw at this truck, he will accomplish for you. Anyhow, he's number 2, and number 1 is coming up. And the number 1 truck in the Opafet's garage is the Avenhorn A15. It's a DLC, part of the Dragon Wagon's dual pack. Has a fuel tank of 400 liters. And when you install the universal compartment, it has 300 repair parts, 2 spare wheels, and another 300 liters of fuel. Then you can add the crane, and you can add a high saddle with it. Now it has a more fuel on the bumper. If you look on either side of the truck as it's pulling the Sleiter here with 2 trailers and 10 rolls of metal, on either side on the bumper there is another 80 liters of fuel. Then the tires are 57 inches, not the biggest ones in the game, but they do have chains. All-wheel drive is always on. Diff lock is always on. Absolutely fantastic vehicle to drive. Here he is with the universal compartment, the high saddle, and the crane on there. Now he got it kind of stuck trying to get it around that corner there. No fear, no pull by there. Now there's many different add-ons for the Avenhorn, and he doesn't seem to quit. I have yet to have something stop it from going any further than it should. It has outperformed some of the other vehicles. It is not as powerful as, say, the Sleiter, but it has outperformed it. It's got a nice short frame, a very low stance, but wide, making it a lot more stable on any kind of ground. It's got twin steer in the front, and I've already talked about how the twin steer on the PLAD really helps it out, because a lot of times you might go over soft areas of ice, like here for instance, and you might just fall through partially, but then one of the other tires will pick up the weight and pull you through. Now, this trailer it's pulling right now, the coil tubing trailer, is probably one of the biggest ones in the game, and he does have a little bit of trouble taking it through the ice here, but we can finally get through it. Now, this is one of the best trucks in the game, most versatile. The trucks that I've picked in this game to be the top 5 in my garage, of course, are not the only trucks I have. I use other trucks too, because you have to have a little bit of variety and be able to go to a different vehicle if the need arises. That's why sometimes, depending upon the job, the smaller truck is the better truck for the job. Like my father always used to say, the right tool for the right job. And sometimes the Avenhorn A15 can cover almost all of that, because he can do almost everything, but not quite everything. That's why we've got other trucks in the garage. But he is my favorite, and those have been your 5 best trucks in my garage for the Opafet. Number 5 was the Mercer K520. Number 4 was the PLAD 450. Number 3 was the Sleiter ST H16 Elephant. Number 2 was the Kenworth 963, and number 1 is the Avenhorn A15. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you got some good information out of it. And I hope to see you back at Opafet Gaming again real soon. Until then, we've been reviewing the 5 best trucks in the Opafet's garage. Not necessarily the best trucks in the game, because whatever you like to use, that's what's the best.